The warrior in phase 3 feels freaking amazing, man. I'm gonna throw some footage here. I'm gonna show you like what I've been up to when I've been started the phase. But the threat that you can do as Prot now is insane. I'm gonna break down why it's that way. First of all, the elephant in the room, before the phase came out on the pre-patch, the day before, Agran buffed Shield Slam to hell, okay? Shield Slam now does about the same damage as my Bloodthirst, which is outrageous. Of course, I don't have a lot of attack power, I am a tank, but still, it does like 400-ish damage every time. And of course, the damage that it generates, it does double threat now, because that's the other buff. So the damage part of Shield Slam is doing 4 times the threat, you know, double damage, double threat. And as such, I did an Omega at launch, right? I did an Omega at launch, and I was like double the second guy in the threat meters. I felt like my shaman. This felt like, of course, it was still harder because I couldn't just go AFK for 10 seconds and do nothing like my shaman, but I could pump out a similar amount of threat than the shaman, and shamans got nerfed to the ground, so... But that is not all, because I got the 2 runes, and they are also completely bonkers. I am gonna be honest, when I saw the Sword and Board, the rune, I thought it was stupid, but let's take a look at it. Now, let me clarify once again that had it not been buffed, Shield Slam, I would have not gone Sword and Board, but now that Shield Slam is a decent ability, this is insane. So we take a look at this here, okay? Sword and Board, when your Devastate and Revenge does damage, you got a 30% chance of refreshing your your Shield Slam cooldown, and at the same time, it is free. It reduces the rage cost by 100%. Now, when Shield Slam was bad, this was awful, because it's like, yeah, you get like 1.5 times a Thunder Armor worth of threat. Yeah, I'm going Fury, screw that. But now that you do like double the threat to have Bloodthirst, this is the most busted thing in the game. Also, and like I saw you guys, and like let me clarify another thing. I saw a lot of people saying you gotta go for Shield Mastery because it's 10% more damage. Of course, this would have been nice. If this was all we got, that would have been enough, I think. But no, you gotta go Vigilance, okay? I'm gonna teach you something, and I'm gonna teach you something about Horde Bias that is really interesting if you wanna take a look at it. What is Vigilance? It's a buff you put on somebody else, and the 10% of the threat they generate goes to you. But of course, here's the busted part about it. You may look at this and you may think, oh, that's only 10% more threat. No, here's the big problem with it. It is affected by your threat modifiers. So let's assume you got a DPS guy that would normally do like 90% of your threat or so. A similar amount of threat to you because he's pumping. You take 10% of his threat, but it is not 10% of his threat because you get Spirit of the Alpha, that's the big Horde Bias right there, and it multiplies by 45% extra. And you may be saying, oh, Blessing of Salvation is the same, but the other way because it reduces other people's threat. Yes and no, because it multiplies of other stuff too. You see, so you got 1.45 and you multiply it by 1.3 of defensive stance, because defensive stance is a 30% threat buff, and of course you got the 15% extra from Defiance, but it doesn't really matter. You come up with something like 18-19% of the other guy's threat when you do the math of it. So even if somebody's doing 10% less threat than you, you're still getting like way more threat than you would get but from somebody doing 10% more damage, right? And it doesn't stay in there, okay? Because there's another secret thing of this, and I'm gonna show you some footage. I'm gonna show you some footage of me doing Tanaris right now, doing Sulfarax, so you can tell what I'm saying here. We have AoE now because of Vigilance, guys. We have real AoE now. You put this thing on a mage that is pumping, whoever is pumping the most in AoE, you get 10% of their threat, they lose 10% of threat, so you have like a 19% of a normal mage's threat worth of damage. If you start spamming Demoralizing Shout, and remember guys, because we have Defiance in the Prot talent, we have a lot more threat from Demoralizing Shout now. Fury gives us damage, but extra damage doesn't do anything to Demoralizing Shout because it doesn't do damage. So Prot does way more AoE threat because of that. And also the Taunt Refresh, it is so nice to be able to spam Taunt on whoever is getting hit. I got this thing, I kinda figured it out now as I went. The real point of Defiance and the Taunt Refresh is to not taunt off the guy that you put Defiance on, okay? You leave like one mob hitting him, okay? I'm sorry. You leave one mob hitting the guy you put Defiance on, guys, and then you just taunt every other mob on cooldown. Every GC you taunt one mob, right? Like it doesn't take very long until you got like a bunch of mobs taunted. And the great part about taunting is that you catch up instantly in the threat meters. You are put at the same level as the other guy when you taunt. So now it is a lot easier to spam Demoralizing Shout while you do it. Remember guys, taunt is not on the GCD, so you can taunt and spam Demoralizing Shout on cooldown at the same time. It sounds stupid, but it is so much better. It is not quite a shaman in AoE threat, obviously. I do not feel like a Prot paladin quite yet. But dude, it is such a difference. I can tank the pillar event if I am a little careful. If I try kinda hard, I can tank the whole pillar event. And like I'm gonna hold like, I don't know, 90% of the mobs to me. I could never do that before. And that's with the DPSers not waiting, you know, like mages love dying. Like if they waited 5 seconds for me to get a couple demoralizing shelves off, it wouldn't be a problem, but this is classic, they don't want to do that. Also, I got a lot of questions about what build I am running. I'm gonna show you the build right now, because why not? I am taking shield specialization, blood rage. I gotta waste 3 talents here. I took defense, but you can take whatever you want. Last stand, the cooldown is... This is really nice, guys. Like, being able to have last stand now, I never valued this as much as I should have. Oh, this thing already saved my life so many times. It is so nice to be back. Then I take 1 point in shield block, because you can block another hit. You do not take any more on this. We're gonna take Defiance, 15% threat, of course. Improved Taunt, we're gonna take Thunder Armor for cheaper Thunder Armors. We're gonna take Concussion Blow. Concussion Blow is a stun, but I treat it as a taunt, right? When you're doing trash, being able to stun one guy is also a kick. It's also like useful as a second kick too. But when you are doing a bunch of AoE stuff and you're taunting everything, and of course you're gonna run out of taunts. So what you can do is stun one mob and ignore him for a couple seconds, and like that's gonna help the group a lot too. Then we're gonna take Improved Shield Wall, because it's absolutely busted. Of course we want a longer shield wall. We're gonna take 10% more damage right here and Shield Slam. And down here I took 5% crit, because I like threat, I like damage, and parry, because why not? Like there's... I mean, I guess I could go for Improved Demoralizing Shot for utility, but right now I feel like 5% parry, especially with the stupid damage that we see in Sunken Tempo. Yeah, that thing is gonna be pretty nutty. But overall, guys, the warrior is back. I feel like a good tank, not just a decent tank anymore. I feel like a good tank now. Whatever happens, because you are feeding off the threat of whoever is stupid at the moment, not of your threat. You are, I assure you guys, whatever happens in the raid, we are not going to lose threat. As a matter of fact, I got this thing thought out in my guild, where I'm gonna ask the Shaman DPS, hey man, can you put double Rock Biter and I can just put Vigilance on you and you pump for me? And yeah, he's gonna sacrifice a little bit of damage, but if I struggle with threat, I can do that, and I assure you, I am never going out of threat again. They nailed it. It's stupid, but they nailed it. I mean, I would have done it a lot differently, absolutely. I don't think this is like the cleanest, the sexiest way of making the Prot Warrior work. But dude, at least I am a real class now. I don't have to go Fury anymore. And this has the Medina seal of approval. Also guys, I am gonna be streaming my Sunken Temple progression today and tomorrow perhaps, so subscribe. We're gonna stream on this very channel. Subscribe, leave a like, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.